They just need to.
Can we begin with the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call. Mr. Fierskos is absent. Mr. Penrod?
Here.
Mr. Ward?
Here.
Mr. Raymer?
Here.
Mr. Esposito?
Here.
And I'm here, Randy. 6. Any additions, deletions?
We're just going to move 3.1 to the bottom under presentations and recognitions. We've got senior awards tonight and a concert, and so I'm going to try to get the guys out of here pretty quickly.
Okay. Hearing of patrons? No hearing of patrons. Moving in, recognition of the 2A boys state basketball champions.
If I could have the coaches and the players kind of come up in front of the screen there, I'd appreciate it. Might brag on you a little bit. You guys are all right with that?
They've already been to the state. They've been to the
So,
state house.
We were hoping to do this in April, but for some reason you all decided that going to a Pacers game and getting recognized at an NBA game was more important. So we don't blame you. I would have gone down to the Pacers game too. I just want to talk just a little bit about this team and the coach. And I'm reminded last year when I first got here, Eli and I have now worked together in 2 different districts, and I popped down to say hello to him, and the boys were practicing. And I remember the question I asked you was, are they always this intense and driven in practice? And you said every practice. And obviously that work ethic that coaches instilled in you and your parents have instilled in you and that you've done has paid off. Just give you a synopsis of the season. Regular season record 20-2, Three River Conference record 8-1 champions. Postseason run 6-0. Average margin of victory regular season 29.5 points. Average margin of victory postseason 14.1. These guys probably wish every game was 14.1 in the tournament run, because there were some close games in there, but you guys got it done. Postseason run, sectional versus Rochester 71-46. Sectional versus Oak Hill 70-38. Moved on to regional at Logansport against Tipton 54-36. I went to semi-state at Michigan City, first round, Jimtown, clutch 3, put them ahead. Final score was 56-55, at which point I think I lost my voice. The championship game against 21st Century at Michigan City Schools, 53-50, and then many of us were there at the state tournament in Bainbridge Fieldhouse against University, 59-54. So, an incredible accomplishment for you guys, for your coaches. What I thought was so cool is you polarized a community. And if you guys looked up in those stands, I don't know how much you could focus on up in the stands and all the excitement of the game, but I think, 1.5 times the town was sitting up in the stands cheering you guys on, and you just brought so much school spirit and pride, back into our community. At the end of the game, a cool part of the game is they announced the Trester Award. Trester Award recognizes a student athlete who demonstrates strong mental attitude, leadership, scholarship, and athletic ability. The 2025 Class 2A Trester Award winner was given to Caleb Klein. As many of us know, he hurt his knee in the first football game of the season. Was it the first play?
No, it was at the end of the first.
All right. But in the first game of the season, and despite what could have been a significant setback for any young athlete, he deferred surgery because he wanted to play basketball. He wanted to be with his teammates. And not only is Caleb a strong contributor on the basketball team, also excels in the classroom, was recently named Manchester High School Class of 2025 salutatorian. Congratulations. And then Coach Henson was named District 1 Coach of the Year. by the Indiana Basketball Coaches Association for his hard work throughout his coaching career, and in particular this year with his team. You know, a well-deserved award, and you know, I want to say publicly, you know, I know people know you're leaving, that we wish you nothing but the best, and I'll tell you, the opportunity I think it's pretty cool to follow in your grandfather's steps of being the first coach, you know, at Tip Valley, and I know it's difficult for the boys and difficult for the community, but I know this, they're gaining a good man and a good coach, and you're going to do well, and we appreciate you. So let's give them a round of applause. And then I think Tyson's got something to say.
Obviously, very, very proud of our team. It takes a lot of teamwork and a lot of work and a lot of effort for all parties involved. And I know on behalf of our basketball team, we want to thank the board. I'm glad we got to move it back a little bit because these would not have been in for our April meeting. So I'm going to have you stand up and receive your state championship medal as well. Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, I want to say thank you, and there's one thing I want to apologize probably about the seating. When we got there, I didn't really pay attention to the seating, but if I had my choice, probably the senior parents would have been up front, so you know, that was a little awkward. But, you know, I will address a couple things from the public. Like, we didn't have people kind of said some things about who cut down the nets and stuff like that. So just to reiterate, you know, they sort of had control of that whole show, right? So, I mean, but you guys, you know, what you accomplished, we've had kind of a state wrestling champ, basketball, or baseball, but this, you know, this basketball thing, this is sort of a legacy for you. And, you know, be careful with success, but I thank you guys from the bottom of my heart, right, for this victory. As you get older, you'll kind of realize the current state of things, right, and what you accomplished, you know, even more. But I wish all of you the best of luck. And Coach, same to you, right? Nice job this year. Like you know, the adjustments you guys made. I mean, I was a little worried. That game was pretty tough right at first. You know, it was a physical game, but you guys made some great adjustments and, you know, tough, you know, ice in your veins on some of those shots, right? And everybody contributed. To me, man, you know, that was some of the best basketball I watched all year, bar none, you know, college and everything. But that was the cool part about that run. It seemed like everybody on the team kind of stood up, right, to steal the rebounds and things like that. You know, just you guys, you have some excellent athletes on that team, but really it's a good sign for all of us in the whole community and the whole county. I don't think just this town was down there, right? I saw people, you know, throughout this county was down there supporting you. So I just want to say thank you.
I will tell you that I know there was a exchange student from Germany who went to Manchester years and years and years ago, who actually flew back to watch the state championship game. Flew in that morning, I believe, and came over to the stadium. So pretty incredible.
Curious on how many has watched the state game back. Anybody? Everybody watched it back? Yeah. Yeah.
How many times?
Yeah, and that's fun to see too, to watch it back. But as a community leader, yeah, great job, guys. I'm sure it was a lot of hard work. You guys started back in biddy basketball, and kind of reflect back on all the steps to get here. And you know, a lot of things had to go our way. But yeah, just the outpouring of community support, how many people traveled, whether it's Michigan City, down to the State House, alumni all over the place, even the people that couldn't make the trip to Timbercrest and American Legion, all the watch parties. You know, that's something that even though they weren't in the stands, like memories being made all over the community. So we celebrate those types of things, and they don't happen. You guys are in elite class, and like I said, I know you guys, you'll be remembered a long time, and hopefully others younger will look at that experience and know I want to do that. So good job.
Awesome. Thank you. I know some of you guys need to get moving over to the senior. Anybody else? Before I release them. All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you. Next, I would like to invite up Coach Andrew Chenworth and Simon Van and Caleb Besauter. They, in the past 6 years, or the first, correct? About 6 years?
Yeah.
Okay. The first state gold medal in Science Olympiad, in bungee drop, which I know nothing about. So what I told Coach was I'd appreciate if they would explain to us what they did and maybe how many competitors you were against, and just talk to us about the process.
Yeah, I want to put into reference kind of this achievement. So we've been sending a team to the high school division state since 2009. Sue was our coach for a long time. She was my coach when she first started the team back in 2003, I think. And we've been sending middle school teams since then, and high school teams just for the last 15 years. We lost that year to COVID. And every year we're lucky to get maybe 2 or 3 awards, top 6. It's stiff competition. It's unlike basketball. It's not classed. We're up there against Carmel. We're up there against Munster, Lake Central. And it's, it's tough. A Science Olympiad state tournament is 23 events. So our team of 15 teammates competes in all 23 of those events. And so in those 15 years, we've had something like 335 shots at getting on the podium, and maybe done it 10 times, 20 times at the high school level, and never kind of cracked that first place. And so this is my last year coaching, as you guys will read in a little bit, at least for the foreseeable future. And so I told the team when I told them that I'd be stepping down that I wanted 1 gold medal at state. The B team's done it a handful of times. The first year I coached, they did it 2 or 3 times. It's a little easier for the junior high division because the competition isn't quite as stiff. And I kind of knew in the back of my mind that bungee drop would probably be one of our better chances. Not just because it's a new event, so some teams might not have that built-in infrastructure to do so well in it, but because these 2 guys were kind of running the show. These 2 have been leaders on our team since they were 7th graders. And they grew into mentors for all the younger kids. That's what's neat about Science Olympiad. You've got all those years to really mentor the younger kids. If I had a nickel for every time I said, go ask Caleb or go ask Simon, and knew I was sending the kids in the right direction, I might have $5. So, they're going to be missed on the team. And it's just a huge accomplishment for them. It's like a testament to all of their educators that this event is tough. It's high level physics, and so it's a testament to every educator they've had that's helped them think critically, think creatively, to come to those solutions, because they didn't just arrive this way. It's their parents, it's their teachers, so it's kind of a win for the whole corporation for sure. So I'll let them kind of describe the event. Randy, if you want to throw up that. The equation, they might. It's been a few weeks since they did this, but so this is what they worked on, and what they had to come up with to get this bungee drop to be so successful. I'll let them explain how the event works.
So the event basically consists, we're given a certain drop height and we're given a certain mass, and what we have is we have a long cable that's elastic, and we basically have to calculate how much cord we use to make our container get as close to the ground as possible. And from competition to competition, we don't know what the weight or the height is going into the competition. So it's just doing the calculations, making the final decisions based off of what loading assembly they give us, and having to calculate for error, because this is the equation we use, but the equation itself is not 100% likely. Like, we came down to a number. We would come down to a number about 20 minutes before the competition. We're going to go 7 centimeters less than what the equation tells us. But then we often change it just based on, there's like an intuitive part of it. You can't always tell by just like looking at the numbers or looking at the height. There's always going to be little parts of just how their assembly works, and it's just kind of, there's a little bit of luck, but it's also a lot of being intuitive enough to understand how their assembly and all the environmental factors that go into it are going to affect it.
So tell them how high you drop from and how close you got.
So we dropped from
5 meters.
5 meters, and we were within 2 centimeters from the ground on our first drop. The second one was about the same.
3 or 4,
Yeah. And then if you're within a certain amount of space from the ground, I guess 20 centimeters, you get a third bonus drop, where they give you a certain window that you have to drop in between, and we also got the window.
So this is our big long equation that we use to get an idea of what we want to do. The first number before the big division problem is the drop height minus whatever their assembly is. So they put the weight in a water bottle, and then we get the height of the water bottle, and then whatever clip is used to clip it to the top before the drop, and we subtract that height from 5 meters in this case. And then the 9.81 number is gravity, acceleration due to gravity. And then the 0.24 is the kilograms, grams? The mass. And then, yeah, it's just a lot of gravity and a lot of mass.
The 19.4 is what they did all to prep for this event. So you have to calculate this. It's called Young's modulus of elasticity. The longer an elastic cord gets, the more stretchy it is. You can think of a rubber band. If those tiny ones are harder to stretch, the longer they get, you can really stretch them. And so there's this imperfect elastic constant identified as lambda, which they plugged in, and we calculated as 19.41, which is, again, what Simon was alluding to, is that imperfect number that changes a little bit, and there is a little bit of feel to it. You get that number, this equation spits out a number, and you just have to trust it a little bit, because we would sit there around the table and be like, this just does not feel like that's the right number. It feels like it's going to be too long, and you know, you get within 2 centimeters from 5 meters, so it's very impressive.
Yeah, the 3 numbers at the end of each of those equations are what we decided to subtract from the number that the equation gave us. So the first one we took off about 7.5 centimeters from the however long it was that it gave us.
That's sort of your tuning variable then?
Yeah.
Is the first number sort of like in a regression equation, your y-axis, like a constant that you're using through that, and then that's sort of the variation component in the middle there?
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Physics, math, competitive nature, think about the real application on this, right? Yeah. So in engineering, you going to Purdue?
Yeah.
Boiler up, yeah, both of you? Yeah.
So for what?
So,
We're both going for aerospace engineering.
yeah, for sure. Awesome. But like the real application on this, people jump, dive in on commercials, right? There's fatality, but, I like watching, you ever watch the engineering disasters on TV? So that's what it's all about, right? Tuning these equations and predict, hurricane models and stuff like that. So I love it. Anybody ever been to Science Olympiad?
Right.
Right, you have?
Yeah.
Maybe the rest of us need to get there, huh?
It's not
Just
the
a little
most
promo.
of activities. There are a few events that you can watch, but there's a lot of energy. I mean, it's an electric. All those kids in one place doing competitive science.
I go to some of the robotics competitions. Those are pretty cool too.
Yeah.
So
I actually drove the minibus when Andrew was a middle schooler with Sue. I think we had 2.
That's why he has great.
And went to competition. And then when I left, I actually came back from the school district I moved to the next year to drive them down again. So it's a great competition. But that's incredible, guys. And to do it against the caliber of schools that you are competing against is more than impressive. I wanted to stand up and start clapping them, and I saw the equation because I'm like, I don't know, anybody can understand that, But
Sometimes we didn't understand it. Yeah.
that's outstanding. Well, we just wanted to recognize you and your hard work and your representation of your families, your coach, the school, your Science Olympiad team, and it sounds like not only your team, it sounds like you guys are mentors to a lot of the younger guys. So I'm sure whoever steps up and coaches spot will miss you guys and that leadership. So thank you very much.
So one other question, would you gentlemen be able to expedite the bridge project on this end of town?
In
They at
town.
least wouldn't be the guys standing around watching.
Oh, really?
thank you very
Thank you,
much.
gentlemen.
Yeah,
Good
thank you.
job.
Appreciate you. All right.
Where are we at?
Mrs.
Recognition. We're gonna go to. Yep. Have a good evening.
Well, I know Andrew's leaving the meeting, but I do want to say how much I appreciated him taking over. You know, when I retired from coaching in 2019, I was, you know, you worry about your program that you've built, you know, for all those years. And I was delighted to have a former Science Olympiad student become the coach, and just commend him for the job that he did. And it's not easy, especially when you have 2 or 3 B teams, which is like 45, 6th through 8th, 9th graders, and then high school teams all in the same space, working on 23 different events, and you know, the commercial herding cats. It was a whole lot like that, but at the same time, I know that Science Olympiad is that thing that is going to drive careers. Caleb didn't talk about his other events, but he is stellar in the flight events, and that has spurred his passion on for aerospace engineering, as it has for several others. So it's just it's a fantastic competition. So anyway, I could talk about that all night long, but I know you don't want me to do that. So let's talk about grant updates.
Are we supporting that program, and like, do we have a replacement for Andrew? And
the position's advertised.
Okay.
So, and
what I mean by that is, you know, it is I don't want to call it a burden, right? But it is work. Is it, you know?
Sure. You know, we would say it's the longest season of any, because you start in September and you don't end until April, and you're working the whole time to get ready for those competitions. So it's a lot, but it's worth it. So, okay, Randy, if you just want to go to the next slide. So I'm going to talk about grants, and for those of you that are newer to the board, if you have questions, please stop me and ask. I want to talk a little bit about the format. I'm going to take this off of here to start with, because you know, the state gives us grant money. It's our money, but we have to apply for it. So there's quite a process for that to happen. And so, like I said, sort of in my little sentence there, you have to identify your needs. You know, you do a comprehensive needs assessment. What are our goals? What do we need the money for? You have to apply. There's a lot of monitoring that goes on, both programmatic and financial. And then you have to fill out reports. There are mid-year reports that you have to send to the DOE. Sometimes you have to modify or amend your grant if things go a different direction. There are deadlines for those things. Obviously, you have to encumber those funds at a certain deadline. Usually it's like a September 30th deadline. You have to expend things by December, usually, of the grant year. And then there are more reports at the end of the grant cycle. And again, those are programmatic and fiscal. So you have to report, did you meet the goals that you set for that grant? Right now we're in the process, and Linda's here. She can attest to the fact that we have a lot of applications. We have a pre-application that we fill out before we can actually apply for any of the title grants, and we're working on that right now. You submit your pre-application that has all your goals, has a lot of data attached to it, and then once that gets approved, then the other grants are opened. And so, and I can send the whole report to you, but just to kind of recap some of the grants that we currently have open. I didn't do all the grants, but these are the ones that are open and active right now. From the federal and state level, we have Title I, which it funds things at our elementary school, and Title II, which is for like our mentor-mentee program. It does a lot of the professional development and training. Title III is directed to EL, and we are not a big enough district to have our own funds, so we have to join a consortium in order to get use of those funds. And so we joined the Wabash Valley Area Education, WVEC Education Center, and a lot of different schools around our area joined that consortium, and we benefit from that whole group. And then Title IV, that one is for like healthy schools. It can be used for like well-rounded education. So we use that money for like our STEM consumables, making sure that we have equity in all grade levels for access to STEM. It funds our data dashboard, which is Panorama, which we can track attendance, behavior, academic trends, and data. We also have a high ability grant, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. That's a state fund. The Title I's are federal. High ability is a state-funded grant, formative assessment, pays for a diagnostic test that we give beginning, middle, and end of the year. We have an alt ed grant that helps to fund a paraprofessional in our Squire Academy. And then we had the tutoring grant, which was an interesting grant because it was like unused ESSER funds. And we had teachers benefit. There were certain qualifications that students had to have in order to be able to participate in the program. But we had several students that from 4th grade to 8th grade participated. That grant has expired now, so we aren't able to use those funds anymore. But it was good while it lasted, I'll just say that. But that was a tutoring grant, and we did that for math and reading tutoring. The middle section, we had a couple of grants from the Department of Homeland Security. Now we're moving into competitive grants. The other grants, we get the money, but we have to apply for it and go through all the hoops that I mentioned earlier. Department of Homeland Security, we do, sorry for all the acronyms, we have a secured school safety grant that's a matching grant that pays for our SRO. And we also had one that was the State Homeland Security Program, and that paid, it was an $80,000 grant that we got that paid for our window films. So that's like a one-time thing. We do reapply for the Secured School Safety Grant yearly to help offset the cost of our SROs. Other competitive grants that we have open right now, we have a STEM integration grant. We received, it was $44,000, and I have another slide for that in just a minute, so I'll talk more about that. We had a digital learning grant that was $31,700 and some dollars. Our DLI, as that program just continues, the grant funding is less and less. That DLI, we qualified for $16,000 last year. We have a PCAP grant. PCAP stands for Pathways to Career and Post-Secondary. Over the course of 4 years, we'll get $48,000 for that grant. And then we had 2 small community foundation grants that were $5,000 apiece. One funded some preschool playground equipment, and the other went to the purchase or help purchase a CNC machine. Our grant totals, our federal funds total $357,657.29. Our state funds, $49,562.80. Our Department of Homeland Security grants, $119,313.20, and our competitive grants, $149,978. So a grand total of active grants right now, $676,511.29. So that's quite a bit of money that we are getting because we're pursuing grants. Randy, if you go to the next slide.
Before you move on.
Sure.
So the the Homeland Security, is that potentially a yearly, or you said that was only a one-time deal?
The top one that pays for our SRO, we reapply for that annually, depending on the amount of funding available. But the second one, actually, that's a grant that, it was a federal grant. So the state of Indiana took in applications. They chose the applications they wanted to send on to the federal level, and then it came back to us. So we were one of those applications. I don't know that we would qualify again. It would be a hard ask, really, to think that we would qualify a second time.
That's centered around safety?
It is. It's state homeland security, but it's not just education. It's every entity can apply for that grant. So you had, fire stations and other community organizations, just anything could apply. Anyone could apply.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not saying we wouldn't try if we had a need, but so the STEM integration grant, that grant has funded a lot of stipends for people that are working to help us get recertified in STEM, in our STEM recertification. We are collecting evidence. We are working on project-based learning units. We're looking at gaps in, the standards that we're covering and identifying those, using that STEM certification rubric and preparing for recertification, which will be in 2026. So that's what that fund is going toward. There are funds going towards STEM next year, according to what I see when I look at the state budget. We don't know what grants that will come in the form of, but at this point in time, this is the one we've gotten. We've gotten several STEM integration grants in the past. We've been very fortunate to get those. So we'll see if there's another one that fits our needs, we'll apply. Randy, next slide. Okay, we also got the digital learning grant, and we've gotten several of those. This one had an AI focus, and that's been a really interesting study for us. In this grant, we formed an AI think tank team, and you can see the members of the team there. We went 5th grade through 12th grade on our team. We have done all kinds of things, just really immersing ourselves in all things AI, learning about it, asking questions of other schools, different vendors. The grant funded a platform for us to explore, which our teachers have access to. We had professional development on that. It was not opened up to students because we wanted to make sure that we understood it beforehand, so our teachers have explored that. We've done a book study together. I love using Fisher and Fry books for book studies, and this was another really good one. We did kind of a jigsaw of that book and shared information that we learned. All the think tank team members have access to, it's called ISTE Live 25. It's like the technology event, and we're not going, but you get access to all the webinars and all the different presentations and things for 6 months. So you don't have to go and spend all the money to go to San Antonio, Texas. You can get all of those things, and the grant funded that. And we've done a lot of work on, and Quade, you were in on this too, we've talked a lot about what we want that to look like as far as the student side of the platform, and just getting pieces of that information together. And we've gotten a lot of feedback from teachers on what they like, what they don't like about the different platforms we've explored. And so it's been a good grant. We certainly aren't finished talking about AI. We never will be. It'll always be an ongoing conversation. But I think we've come a long way in getting our teachers comfortable, just knowing what AI is and is not, and how it can be used effectively in the classroom for certain tasks. And we're hoping, the grant funded a platform for 3 years, so we're hoping now we're ready to kind of ease into exploring that with our students. But that's the AI grant.
What's the ultimate purpose of that? I mean, what are some takeaways from where you're at now? So you're in how many months?
We started exploring things in October.
Okay.
So takeaways. We did a survey to start with, kind of gauge everyone's AI IQ.
Was there fear of AI?
A lot. And the questions were about, what are you most nervous about? What are you most excited about? What platforms have you explored? And just different things like that. And a lot of people were nervous about, the cheating, just the open-endedness of AI, and just not understanding kind of how it could be used to increase learning. We're going to send out the survey again. Actually, it should go out at least by Friday, and look at how their maybe their attitudes have changed a bit. Still want to hear their concerns, but what have they learned that have made them more comfortable with AI? And I think we'll see, just from talking to people after the professional development, they said, yeah, wow, I've taken a lesson and I've been able to, you can choose make it more relevant. So you put your lesson plan in there, say make it more relevant, and give it some other, it's about the prompt, right? They have learned to write better prompts to get AI to produce what they want.
Yeah, you learn to steer around, right? So,
yeah. So that's the kind of stuff I think we're learning through this grant. And it's really,
But is the
really,
purpose like an implementation over the 3 years, integration into teaching and
Yes.
education?
yes.
More than just awareness, like this first part's sort of awareness and,
It is,
Yeah,
because we
awesome.
wanted to get comfortable with the platform ourselves. So as the think tank explored first, then we released it to the faculty, had the professional development training, and now we're ready for teachers to start using it with their students. I think that's the
and
next
if
thing.
we don't, we'll fall behind because it's here, right? Businesses
Yeah.
are using it, and so we have, it's
And-
gonna be part of it.
That's
so.
one thing, and Aaron Hooks is on our committee, and that's one thing he said. He goes, if we don't prepare our students for this, we're doing them a disservice, and we wholeheartedly agree with that. Last slide, Randy. Thank you. I wanted to highlight one other grant that's just been a fun grant for me this year, our High Ability Grant, some of the things we're able to do with those funds. We brought in, we had 2 family nights. We brought in a whale mobile, and this inflatable whale was sitting over in the auditorium. It's 43 feet long. You could walk inside of it. It had the internal anatomy of the whale, and then we had 2 experts that are on whale ships and whale watching tours and do all of that sort of thing come in and talk to our students. So all of our 3rd graders were able to experience the whale mobile during the day, and then in the evening our parents came in, and many of our 3rd graders brought their parents back in because they thought it was super cool and wanted their moms and dads to see it. So we ran that family night then that same evening, and we had well over, 150 people, I think, in and out of that whale. And so that was really fun. And then we did a National Park Showcase. At the same time, we were doing the Academic Excellence Program, so people were just able to come in and browse some of the work that was displayed. Mrs. Burnworth had some art students do different drawings that were related to the national park. I know Mrs. Sauter had a lot of essays that she brought over that her students did. Would you choose this park or this park sort of thing? So some writing pieces. And we had games and different things about national parks. We were also able to send our AP English students to the Indiana Repertoire Theater to experience a play there, and they talked about how that experience was so valuable for them. In that grant, we purchased a lot of enrichment resources, and so we have math games, books, just all kinds of critical thinking and problem-solving things that Mrs. Randall is working with. How do we get those into our families' hands over the summer? So we're hoping to get. They don't do us any good sitting on our shelves all summer, so we're getting those into the hands of our students. The grant funds all the identification. That's a state requirement. We do a lot of professional development, and the other thing that I just want to say thank you to all those people that serve on our broad-based planning committee. We met recently and had some great feedback, and we take that feedback and we try and implement things that we hear from that committee, which consists of community members, parents. And as far as the 25-26 grant, as with several other grants, they're on hold right now. So we'll see what happens as the state makes up their mind about what they're going to do. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. On the agenda, month to month, we just kind of see the grant section. So that information helps a lot. I'm sure for all the board members and the public as far as, what we do on the grant side, just sometimes that thing's blank. So I think people think, why aren't they looking at grants? But appreciate the information. Yep,
Yeah.
awesome.
Thank you for your time, because grants, free money is never free and easy to get, and it does take a lot of effort and time, the reporting, the follow-up, so thank you for the time and doing that, so helping the school system.
Yeah. Okay. Moving down to financial.
Financial report.
Dr. Stevens.
Yeah.
All right. Good evening. You have a long agenda, so I'll cut to this pretty quick. So again, this is the operation fund. This is one of the two funds that are financed by levy, and we'll be getting our draw hopefully in next month. So we'll show you here. So in total revenue, we're expecting 96,000. We took in 41,000, so our variance is 2,000 less than we expected. Total expenses is we're off by 54,000, and you come down to monthly revenue, pretty much same information. So coming across salaries, we 9,000 to the good on salaries, so we overestimated what our cost would be for the month. Benefits derived from salaries, so that would be the same. Claims, unfortunately, costs are going up, and part of this, we buy therms by usually in the fall or summer, and then those therms for gas run for 6 or 7 months. When I first got here, we bought 3 years of therms. That contract expired. So right now we're buying off the market, and we're still heating a little bit more than what we had hoped for this time of year. We're going to be looking, I actually held off. We could have bought therms earlier, but because of the election and some of the comments are coming out of the White House, I'm hoping that we will get a better deal later on this summer on therms than what we have had in the past. So those are some of the driving factors. Our electric bills have come down a little bit. Again, we turned everything over to LED lighting, so that has helped. But obviously, the LED lights go down, but the cost of power is going up. So it kind of was an offset. So coming down, again, we projected for the month 296,000. We're at 351, so a negative variance of 54. So when you get all done with the month, we're at 56,000 negative. We still have 115,000 actual cash in-house in operation funds. Again, we borrowed in January for that fund through the Indian Bond Bank. We'll get our first tax draw again, hopefully by this time next month. So our first bill from the tax draw will be paid back. But again, we're sitting pretty comfortably at this point. We are showing year end. I'll go into more detail on this when we have our work session later on. We have a balance set up that if we are negative in operations, which you can't be at the end of the year, to have money transferred over. We're at $750,000 now is what we transfer on an annual basis from education to op. We are eligible to go up to about 1.3 million. Don't see that coming close, but we'll probably have to transfer a little more year end than what we did last year. So, education fund. Same process. So when you come down to, thank you. We were projected to take in 910,000. We took in 911, so we're up $1,100. Unfortunately, total expenditures, and when you come down, total expenditures. So we were off on our salary projections. Actually, we did a better job on benefits than what we should have, because that should be a negative if this number's negative. And our claims are running hot on operations side. So we're trying to look to see, okay, we're down quite a bit, almost 20,000 in claims on the education side, but we're up on operations. So we're looking to see if there's a way we can offset some of that. So every month it's a balancing act to see where we're coming in. Education fund, we guesstimated, all this came back now 18 months ago. So 18 months ago, we were, from there, we're $14,000 off. With, I suppose it's 18 months isn't a bad judge. So, okay, I mentioned this before just in passing. You are going to have a work session coming up. I'll have more detailed information. Last week was IASBO, which is the Indian Association of School Business Officials. Tony was there, Shelley was there, and the session that we all wanted to go to in the fashion room, standing room only, was all the new updates from the legislation that just passed. And the response was from the first presenter, you're all here to hear about the legislation that just passed, and I can tell you, we don't know. So we will be getting information to you as soon as possible. The second person that said the same thing, she said, but the field examiners are being trained so that they will be able to answer your questions when they come out and they have your, budget sessions coming up this summer. And I'm starting to saying, okay, if you don't know what's in the legislation, how can you train people to work with you on the new legislation? But I didn't ask a question, so. We will do the best we can. I will tell you it's dismal. That's probably a good picture right now. I've been more details, and there's not much time. All the stuff that went into effect, or what was passed, goes into effect July 1st, so there is no window to fix anything that's short. So it's going to be a tough couple of years. So that being said, any questions?
Nope,
All
just
right.
look differently. I think our conversation, some of the conversations around, again, we use these systems to measure and we take action on these systems. So, as a state level, we need to really look at gauge R&R, right? These measurement systems need to be calibrated, and they need, it's not just the system itself, it's the people that use it, it's the variation in the data, and and why is it always past tense? Like that's business, man. You don't survive in business past tense. It's real-time data. So hopefully, our friend, I'm excited to see what happens, at the state level with data acquisition and utilization.
Well, and Sue brought up, some of the grants are being, right now, being held because nobody knows what's going on. I will tell you, there's probably at least 2 federal grants that we have been getting for decades that is probably going to go away. We don't know that information yet. And one of the grants that she mentioned that we do with, especially at-need kids, is going to be very whacked. So everybody's looking at do more for less. Well, that's hard to do when the kids that you're serving, their needs are getting greater every year and there's more students in need. So.
Well, the other thing, it's not just going to be the schools, right, Adam? Like freaking just like at home. When you have good times, you save, and then you tighten the belt when you don't. So
I'm not sure we're bad times though. That's my concern.
Well, no, I know. But I've been on the school board for 6 years, and I know the twists and turns, right?
No.
Financially, so.
Well, and I've been around a long time, so you have this pendulum, and what's there, now we'll come back.
Yep.
It's just how hard is it going to hit you on the way through?
Thank you, Dr. Stevens. Motion to approve the financial report. Mr. Penrod, second. Mr. Orr, thank you. Any discussion? I guess we already did. All in favor?
Aye.
Consent items.
Okay. Consent items, claims, minutes, resignations.
Resignations. So we have Carol Miller, MES cook retirement after 23 years. Lisa Williams, MES paraprofessional, retirement after 19 years. Derek Sorg is resigned from his teaching position, engineering technology teacher. Ella Qualkenbush, color guard and winter guard coach. Andrew Chenworth, Science Olympiad head coach. Mike Schlitt, teacher retirement after 36 years. Bill McNeely, teacher retirement after 31 years. Julie Castle, teacher retirement after 37 years. Gail Olinger, paraprofessional, retirement after 23 years. Eli Henson is varsity boys basketball coach. Eli Henson is PE health teacher. Jason Dorman as boys basketball assistant coach. And Brad Buzzard as the head high school soccer coach. And then,
Thank you for your service.
yep, absolutely.
Man, that's some years up there, right? I mean, that's pretty incredible when you think about how many kids is that in 33 years that you go through that?
A couple names that I had them as my teachers, so that's kind of up to date.
Yeah, so, okay. Sorry, did I cut
No,
you
you're
off?
fine. Nope, donations are next.
All right,
We didn't have no grants, yep, donations.
bear with me, it's a long list. First 2 donations are at MES, $138 to Special Olympics from New Life Industries, $250 to the Staff Appreciation Week from McKee Mortuary. The next several are to MIS, $100 to the Reader of the Year from Anonymous. $159.80 to Scholastic Book Fair Summer School Curriculum from Chitlick Advisory Group. $100, oh, excuse me, this MES slipped in there, to the school principal from Community Coffee Company LLC. Back to MIS, $20, Teacher Appreciation Week, Mr. Dave's. $50, Teacher Appreciation Week, Rio Nail Service. $50 to Teacher Appreciation Week, Neighborhood Fresh. $8 times 5 to Teacher Appreciation Week from Keela Coffee. $25, Teacher Appreciation Week, The Graphic Brand. A gift basket, Teacher Appreciation Week, Rhinestones and Roses. $20 times 4, Teacher Appreciation Week from the liquor store. Flowering basket, Teacher Appreciation Week, Sunshine Greenhouse. $25 times 2, Teacher Appreciation Week, Nordman's Nook. $25 Amazon gift card, Teacher Appreciation Week, Penrod Family. $25 Amazon gift card, Teacher Appreciation Week, Pedden Family. $10 times 2 Chills gift cards, Teacher Appreciation Week, Terry Eckert School of Dance. $25 Starbucks gift card, Teacher Appreciation Week from the Nickham family. $25 Amazon gift card, Teacher Appreciation Week, Nickham family. $25 Elmez gift card, Teacher Appreciation Week, the Rosine family. Mini session photo session, Teacher Appreciation Week from Pile Photography. $20 Walmart gift card for Teacher Appreciation Week from Donaldson family. $200 for the Teacher Appreciation Week Community Foundation of Wabash County. Sweet treats for Teacher Appreciation Week for In-Laws Catering and Creamery. Cupcakes for Teacher Appreciation Week, the Baker's Delight, or the Baker's Daughter, excuse me. Pizza, Teacher Appreciation Week from Huck's. And the rest of these are all to the junior senior high school. $100 to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes from First Brethren Church. $200 to the cheerleading program for a charter bus to the Boys State Finals from Sharon Bellinger. $300 cheerleading program for the charter bus to the Boys State Basketball Finals from Akron Concrete Products Incorporated. $300 to the junior senior high school cheerleading program for charter bus to the Boys Basketball State Finals from Abby Shanup. $500 cheerleading program for charter bus to the state finals, Peabody Retirement Community. $200 to the boys basketball program from an anonymous donor. $550 to the boys basketball program, Bippa State Bank. $1,950 to the boys basketball program for the charter bus to the finals from MPS Egg Farms. $2,500 to the boys basketball program for the purchase of rings, medals, and trophies from Burgess Information Technology. $350 to the FFA program from Dairyland Seed and Corteva AgriScience MSC LLC. $1,000 to the FFA program from Springfield Plastics. $2,500 to the FFA program from CHS Incorporated. $20 to the cross country. All of the following are to the cross country program for the pavilion. $20 from Paige Woods. $50 from Amanda and Caleb Howell. $50 from Linda and Ray Muston. $50 from Thad Russell. $100 from the class of '86. $100 from Sam and Jolene Rohr. $100 from David and Mary Schollinger. $250 from Leon and Sarah Bazzoni. $250 from Caitlin and Seth Dotson. $250 from Winifred and Laura Cook. $250 from the Lauer Farms, Chad and Tina Lauer. $250 from Andrew Longenecker. $250 from Randy and Lynn Pinkerton. $250 from Darren and Yvette Rodriguez, $250 from Eric Underwood, $250 from Kelsey Williams, $275 from Gamma Kappa chapter of Tri Kappa, $500 from an anonymous donor, $500 from Jeremy and Amanda Jones, $500 from Kevin Lochner, $500 from Shepherd Chevrolet, $500 from Chris and Janelle Walters, $500 from Matthew and Patricia Webb and family, $1,000 from Mike and Marcia Flora, $1,000 from David and Jeanette Julian, $1,000 from the Derek and Lindsay Miller family, $1,000 from Michael Miller, class of 1986, $1,000 from Eric and Jennifer Reichenbach, $1,509 to the cross-country program for the construction of the Manchester Cross Country Pavilion in memory of Coach Miller, Kara Lance, and Matt White, the class of 86. $5,000 to the cross-country program, an anonymous matching gift from anonymous donors. $10,000 to the cross-country program pavilion from Robert and Sarah Kraus. $5,000 to the cross-country program pavilion, Janice Foz and John Brown. $1,250 to the FFA program for Mag Plus. $1,250 to the FFA program from Land O'Lakes Foundation. $500 to the Academic Excellence Program from Poet Biorefining and Management LLC. $1,000 to the Academic Excellence Program from Gaunt and Son Asphalt Incorporated. $100 to the Boys Golf Program, Kitty Lou Bear. $200 to the FFA program from an anonymous donor. $300 to the Boys Basketball Program from Larry and Diane Miller. $1,000 to the Athletic Program from Larry Radke. The remaining donations are all to the Cross Country Pavilion. $50 from Ray Hillis, $250 from Colin Cummins, $250 from Lena and Seth Hendricks, $250 Scott, class of 81, and Kayla Hippensteel, Ready to Run LLC, $250 from Larry J. and Diane S. Miller, $250 from Ben Reichenbach, $300 from Kevin and Karen Bechtold, $500 from Bryce and Camille Betke, $500 from Natasha Nickham, $1,000 from Crossroads Bank, $1,000 from Manchester Family Dentistry, $1,000 from Manchester University, and $1,000 from Van Contracting, for a grand total of $62,581.80. Thank you very much.
North Manchester, Indiana, our community. That's pretty incredible when you think about it, so and it's not only financial donations, get a lot of good comments in the community. You know, we got things to work on, but we got a lot of good stuff, you know, kind of going on, so. No facility rentals?
None.
Can I get a motion for approval of consent items? Mr. Raymer, a second. Mr. Bias? Any discussion? Further discussion on these items? Yeah, yep, all in favor? Aye. 6-0, Randy. Employment.
Okay, we have Hannah Page, MES, kindergarten summer school teacher. Jennifer Meredith, MES, kindergarten summer school teacher. Karen Jimenez, summer school paraprofessional. Molly Maish, summer school teacher. Morgan Calloway, summer school paraprofessional. Anita Henderson, summer school paraprofessional. Kim Hiley, summer school teacher. Emily House, summer school teacher. Heather Turflinger, summer school teacher. Brandy Carroll, summer school paraprofessional. Becky Nicodemus, summer school paraprofessional. Carrie Sauter, summer school teacher. Dawn Walker, summer school teacher. Norma Baker, Manchester Junior Senior High cook. Karen Jimenez is moving from MES to MIS as a 4th grade DLI teacher. Victoria Heredia is a MES 1st grade DLI teacher. Maddie Gatchell moving from custodian to head custodian. It's an internal transfer. And David Corbin, 2nd shift custodian.
Awesome. Welcome aboard. Motion to approve employment, Mr. Espacetta, second. Mr. Raymer, discussion. Welcome aboard. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 6-0, Randy. Ryan, you did raise your hand, didn't you?
I did.
Brian's blocking you a little bit. I gotta scratch my neck around that. Okay, moving on here.
Do you want these in bulk, then the camps?
Sure, let's, so there's several camp approvals, and we're gonna sort of, even though I'm against batch process, we're gonna batch it up tonight, so.
Okay, so we have, and I'll just give you a synopsis of everything that's left. We have marching band camp, which are various dates starting July 10th, 15th, and 17th with some pre-camp leadership training. And then July 21st through 25th, July 28th through August 1st. There is an optional DCI, which is Drum Corps International trip to the finals on August 7th. We also have a certificate of appointment, which isn't a camp, but for the Public Library Board, a request to approve Kyle Luffel to the Public Library Board. We have junior high, high school cheer overnight camp in Fort Wayne at the Omega Elite All-Star Cheer Gym. Cost are $395 per camper high school, $295 junior high camp, and that runs June 6th to 8th for high school, June 7th and 8th for the junior high. Yeah, the Manchester Girls Basketball Skills Camp, which runs from June 9 through the 12th in the junior high gymnasium. Cost is $20 per player, runs from 3 to 4 o'clock. You have the Manchester Summer Soccer Camp, the 9th through the 12th at Good Fields. Cost us $35 per player. 1st through 4th grade goes from 4 to 5. 5th through 8th grade goes from 4 until 5:30. You have the 2025 Manchester Summer Cheerleading Camp, July 22nd through the 24th. Pre-K through 2nd grade, 4 to 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday and Wednesday of those dates. And 3rd through 6th grade is 5 to 6:30, and that is held in the cafeteria. Squire Camp Football 2025, July 28th to July 30th, $30 per player, grades 1 through 8 on the high school practice fields. You have Squire Track and Field Day, May 30th. Registration starts at 5:30, field events 6:30. Running events, that should say, my note should say 7:30. Entry fee is $3 per person or $10 for a family. This is an open class field day that they do for families and kids, and they can enter, they pay the fee, they can enter as many events as they want for that fee.
Have we done that in the past?
We have.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We have Grace College Cheer Camp, July 21st, 23rd, 2 to 4:30. They'll be taking minibuses. It's $125 for the team. Senior trip to Chicago. It is an optional trip, a transportation by charter bus. They have a full day agenda that is in your board packet, and that is on May 21st, and from 7 a.m. to returning roughly around 11 p.m. So those are all the camps, trips, and then the certification of appointment to the Public Library Board.
And thank you for having the paperwork attached to all those.
Yep.
Appreciate it. Motion for approval.
I make a motion to keep the kids busy this summer.
That's good, right? Mrs. Tobias, it sounds like Adam seconded. Mr. Penrod, discussion? I love it.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I thought when I was doing the synopsis. I thought, there's no excuse not to have your kid involved in something, because there's plenty of opportunity, so.
Free time's opportunity for other things, so. But I think about these camps, and like, watching the parents back with the basketball team, those kids don't win state basketball without a lot of people through youth sports and their effort, but a lot of other people, and especially their parents and grandparents. That, in the same way academically, with Science Olympiad, these people that spend their time in what we call ECA in these activities is critical. And to be honest with you guys, I was kind of bored with school, so like sports was my deal, but some of the other things, French club is courted, and I hope we can, when we start looking at ways to address attendance, I hope we can look proactively about offerings that engage the students in other means other than discipline, and that there's definitely a need for discipline in things, but I often wonder sometimes if how many more of these opportunities, each student's kind of their own person, and sometimes I think that's part of our job, right? Is to search for these different opportunities that also engage them outside the classroom, but our main purpose is in the classroom. But man, to me, that all these extra activities were really what engaged me in school, and I don't know if how that affects how you guys going through school, if that affected you, but I think about that quite often, with the current youth. And I think you're right, Adam. My kids were either working or they were in sports, one or the other, right? Free time means trouble a lot of times with kids. So
I think Sue's working on some things too through the PCAPs to engage those students, and I think that's definitely a step to get them integrated in things in the community, but also having skill sets that they can use in the classroom, and hopefully that can keep them engaged. So excited about that opportunity.
Yeah, I've had a great opportunity to work with some kids at Josiah White's, right, and this little purpose-driven leadership deal. And more I think about it, those kids are no different than our kids, right? They maybe never got caught, or they just kind of one decision away or something like that. So cool. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
6-0. Heartland update.
The roof project is nearing completion. They've been working around the weather, but I think they've made good progress, and I don't have that right in front of me, but I believe there was a credit on that project of about $65,000 and some change, because they did need to do
Some contingency money left over for real?
Right.
Sweet.
I don't know what we're going to do with that, but I'm sure we can find a place for it. So I will say this is, I attended the open house a few weeks ago, went through the building. There's just a lot of work there, and that's, if you want a career center, that is going to have to be addressed. So the roof is the first part. We just need to figure out a way how to fund some of these other items. Also attended the open house on May 8th. Every year, Heartland constructs a home, and about 28 young people involved, 14 in the morning, 14 in the evening. If you could have been there and seen young people showing their parents and how excited, just tying in with what you said, about how excited people are, or kids are, about what they've done and accomplished, and sharing that with their parents. And they did really a nice job, on the house. So senior certificate and honors program this Monday, May 19th at 7. And that'll conclude the year there. So.
Yeah, I better write that baby down. Yeah, it's awesome. Those guys back in '61 or whatever, right? They knew what they were doing. I tip my hat to them. They put the center together, the bylaws and everything. Pretty solid job. Sure. I got to attend GRCC from Marion. That's the new center at Marion. So I went to their graduation. I swear there was like 900 to 1,000 people there, right? So this whole CTE thing, we're very fortunate in the county. And there's a lot of counties, South Bend's still dragging. They unfortunately coupled it with the school closure, which was a bad decision. But, that center, we need to take care of it. You're right. We need to fund it. But the challenges with, Dr. Stevens, good thing we got him, right? That's all I'll say. Because we all, that's really it's been I kind of see it, Heartland, I mean, it's our asset, it's a duty, right, that we take care of that place, so, yep, thank you.
There you go.
Mr. Orr. Legislative update?
Nothing really happening, so.
Okay.
No, in my time and talking to legislators, I don't think they've ever had such a intense back and forth, stir the pot type of legislative session. And to leave that, and many of them say, what happened? And we don't even know what happened because some voted yes, some voted no. Several of them, we attended a legislative session in Wabash that had Senator Zay and Larissa Sweet, and, you know, they said there's already legislative talk of what are they going to undo what was just done. So, you know, their biggest thing is when these go into effect and however they affect you and your sector and the community, and feedback to them to say how it affects them is important for them to make the changes and make the right changes, so, or at least lobby for the right changes. So as we see the effects, we need to get back and say how can we change it back, or did we go too far on the pendulum and have to bring it back to center again? So delicate balance there, and you know, they have some preliminary numbers of how much we're going to lose. Could be 3% up to in 2028, maybe 7% as far as off the baseline of what we should be receiving. So there's some reductions there. But then we all know assessments went way up. So that's going to kind of change some things with rates. And so there's so much happening. We'll find out here next couple months. And then as we get close to budget season, how do you budget for it? It's really kind of difficult for everybody involved, so we'll just take it one day at a time. A couple items I pulled out from kind of signed into law: the school board candidate political affiliation, Senate Bill 287. What was passed was there won't be a primary to be a candidate, so it's still just a general election. Candidates can declare for a political party, or can check nonpartisan, or can be independent. So there is no requirement to, but that you can do that as a benefit, or however you want to see it, do that. Senate Bill 146, which is teacher compensation, it increases the minimum salary for starting teachers from $40,000 to $45,000. It did note that only 44 school districts in the state actually are at that level currently, so there's a lot that's going to have to move that minimum up.
Dr. Stevens got it covered. So.
What's that?
He's got it covered.
Okay. The state bill to increase K through 12 funding by 2% each year, so there is still a increase that I think in the tuition amount for the education fund, but then the Senate Bill 1 will give kind of property tax relief. That's where the reduction that I mentioned for the operations, that's going to be the biggest effect on operations. House Bill 1498, they're kind of revamping again the schools to receive A through F grades. So State Board of Education is creating the accountability framework and have to have it completed by the end of 2025. So I think they're kind of taking into account.
Is that only public schools?
I don't know about that.
Okay.
Maybe. How about that? Maybe. So I know they're going to take into account some of the graduation seals and some of the different diploma requirements. So they're looking at how they can formulate. House Bill 1499, new literacy rule that gives third graders 2 more attempts to pass the iRead 3 test before being held back. So I think each year they kind of give them 1 additional chance. So they're giving them a lot of opportunities to advance in passing that test. House Bill 1634 is required to schools provide early math intervention for K through 8 for students who struggle with foundations of math. So very similar to where they kind of push reading as an emphasis to make sure that they're just not kicking kids through the system without having the basics. they're kind of now saying, let's do the same for math, because they saw the success with reading, so they're kind of taking that a hard look at. So that's all I've got. It's not all of the legislative session, but that's all I want to at least pass for you.
Thank you. Any discussion on that? Yeah, just what I learned is kind of, yeah, what happened this session, but look forward to what's going on and what's really going to happen is you're going to have a tax shift, right? You're going from property tax and somewhere that tax is going to be made up. So that's what's going to be interesting, which is going to, you know, impact the community. We'll see how it all works out, right? Probably some good in there, probably some things, yeah, they will tweak in, but, you know, pretty big package, so. And again, you know, they're serving the country, so I always try to, you know, when it comes to legislation, I always try to respect those guys, right? Because they are making a sacrifice. This little school board, we are too, but I mean, that's like a permanent thing. They probably make a little more, right? But they also have a little more pressure behind them. So, and I need to know where to sign this thing. Superintendent comments?
Yeah, so a couple things. I'll piggyback a little bit on some things Jeff already said and Adam said. But Dr. Stevens and I have been busy dissecting legislative session to the best of our ability at this point, and the potential impact on finances, on curriculum, also just digesting all the new laws, how they impact schools. Many of them are wait and see holding patterns until interpretation and rules come out. Typically at that point, all the professional organizations in school, so ISBA, IAPSS, they usually will put out kind of synopsises of all the legislative pieces once rules are established, so we know how to move forward. Obviously, school year is quickly winding down. I think there are 7 student days remaining. Graduation is the 23rd at 7:30 in the main gymnasium. Doors open at 6:30. I'll be sending information out to the board about what time to be there, et cetera, for graduation. Preliminary I-Learn scores are beginning to come in. They're still embargoed, but there are a lot of positives that administrators will share with their respective results once they've been officially released. So I don't think math has been released yet, but it has now? Okay. So things are out there as soon as they're done being embargoed, and administrators will take during recognition and presentations, and they'll take an opportunity to share that information. Sue alluded to PCAP. The high school did do a kickoff. Again, that's Pathways to Careers and Post-Secondary. Program's really designed to take cohorts of students who would benefit from learning in a different manner that would include more hands-on, more real world learning experiences, more interaction with industry, and help them prepare for the future, maybe ignite an intrinsic drive in them and some interest in them through the program and the approach. What was cool is they invited the students, had to apply, were interviewed. And those that were accepted, and I think it's 14, is that right, correct, 14? 14 students were admitted into the first cohort, and they just had a little ceremony, acceptance ceremony with their parents invited. They all got to hold up a sign, you know, first PCAP, you know, cohort. So we're excited about that program and that opportunity. And then every year you bring in a new cohort behind them. And really can just establish a really solid program that will benefit some kids that just need to approach learning a little bit differently, and challenge them and get some excitement for them to come to school every day. I want to brag on the Manchester Choir. They actually have their final concert tonight at 8. They competed in the Division II ISMA competition. This is actually a higher and harder level than they traditionally compete in. And not only did they rise to the occasion, but they earned gold with distinction. That is a higher award than just getting gold, what you would think of as first place. So when it's distinction, it's really an exceptional performance above and beyond the requirements to receive a gold rating. So just like to congratulate Mrs. Lehman and the choir on their outstanding performance. I was fortunate enough, I popped into one of their classes when they were in the auditorium practicing with someone came in to do a clinician came in to work with them. And I just was in awe, just really from the beginning of class to end of the class of things that Mrs. Lehman and the clinicians were able to do with the choir and the kids' attentiveness and willingness to grow and listen and learn. Lastly, well, and we've mentioned a couple times, just a reminder of the 7 a.m. meeting on Monday the 19th. And Sue and I are working on trying to plan a leadership meeting for the summer for directors and administrators. Once we do that, we're going to take a couple of days and just have a retreat, start preparing for a successful year next year. Moving forward, we've been doing a book study on a book called Arrows, which really is about making sure everybody in the organization has all their arrows pointed in the right direction, that we're not firing at different targets and firing randomly. It's been a very good book. So we're going to take some of those. We're finishing up the book in a leadership meeting on Thursday, and then going to take that into the summer with a retreat. Just kind of start doing some strategic planning moving forward and how to move our schools to the next step, to the next level. So,
How do you think the board fits in that?
I think supporting initiatives, making sure things are financed. Obviously, we'll work on a strategic session, with community stakeholder input to make sure we're pointed in the right direction. Staying informed. Obviously, I try to keep you guys informed on what's going on, answering questions, things that you bring to me. So, that's where we're at. And that's my report.
School board comments?
Thank you. Yep, school board comments.
2 questions. Just curious, any update on kindergarten roundup and how that went? Numbers
Numbers from kindergarten roundup.
We're sitting at 98 reading
Wow.
on our list right now. Our last check was 98 for kindergarten roundup. We're at 105.
105.
Yeah, 105 is, those are the ones that have pre-enrolled and been screened. So.
So that's an outstanding number,
That's good stuff.
truly.
Yeah, good. Second, any facility upgrade updates, timing
Okay.
and stuff?
I'll
That'll-
cover what I
that'll
know,
work.
and if I
We'll
forget
see.
something, holler on facility upgrades.
It doesn't need to be exhaustive.
Yeah,
Just,
track work will start this summer, track resurface. Tennis courts will start in June. Preschool playground, ground covering, equipment refurbishing, new equipment will start toward the end of July. Looking at some carpet in some different buildings. I know I'm forgetting things. Fencing to enclose from the corner of the fence by the south ticket booth to the corner of the where the cell tower is here behind the building. That and
MES playground.
yeah, MES playground.
The first grade playground.
What else am I forgetting?
Paint crew started, part of the paint crew started this week doing the areas that we're going to be carpeting, band choir. We've got lots of places that need restrooms, finishing out restrooms at MES and MIS, new stalls, partitions. We'll do new sinks at MES over the summer, some of those things.
Gym floors are being refinished. Actually, the main gymnasium floor is being redesigned. So it'll be a new design from what we have right now. So that'll be a complete strip down, repaint, revarnish. I think, what am I?
Minor concrete work on the east parking lot here, the pass-throughs. Parking lot at MES will get resurfaced and restriped.
Playgrounds will be sealed over there.
Playground resealed. All that I have for you for work session, a more complete detailed list of everything.
I appreciate it.
Anything else?
Looks
Got
like Mr. Zinsmeister sent out an email this evening to the board for a graduation, so for those that are attending that, what's the graduating class at this point, number?
I want to, I always get it wrong, but I want to say
Ballpark.
112, but that seems maybe a few low.
I can tell you here in a second. I think this on the screen.
So while you're looking that up, I kind of, to Rick's point, I kind of wrote down your student count. We had a little phone call this week and we were asked that number. And it's finding that number and stuff, but I do, like, anybody have any idea on the board how many students we have?
School.
How important is student count to us?
Very important.
So that number, I think we should know that number when somebody asks them. We should communicate that number somehow. I don't know if, how that happens. And then Adam, the community projects, at one point, I was talking to Alex, and he was talking about a sidewalk going down Wayne Street or something, the expansion of a sidewalk from the college to Wayne, or to Main Street, Market Street. Is there any plans for like the sidewalk on this side of the high school?
No.
Any at all? Okay. Why don't we ever look at that?
Be a side conversation.
Okay, all right.
No, the one on Market and College is through a grant, for Lilly grant. So, minimal town dollars. It's actually 2 grants, Stellar Communities and NDOT and Lilly. So there's like 3 different funding.
And I realize it's just a chunk, right? So yeah, we can talk about that later. So as far as the graduation though, really before and after the graduation, one thing I want to say is, like, the year's coming to a close, it's springtime. Everybody's kind of excited. So please, students, parents, talk to your students. Please be safe and like have each other's backs and don't, let's try to finish the year strong and safe and secure and things like that. No, knock on wood, but nothing negative. And I do, again, appreciate the efforts that these kids put forth, and all the extracurricular. Sports get a lot of fans, but like, I look at that science Olympiad and it's like, whoa, you got physics, you got math, Remember, weren't we trying to do a diploma without algebra in it, right? I mean, think about how crazy that is if our kids don't know y equals f of x, right? And how you get to an outcome, successful outcome. So, motion to adjourn, anybody else?
Just real quick, I just want to congratulate Rick Esposette and his Manchester University regular season co-champs of the Heartland Collegiate Athletic Conference, tournament champions, and getting ready to go into tournament play now this Friday in Ohio. So congratulations and good luck in the tournament.
Where's the game in Ohio?
Granville, Ohio.
Granville, Ohio, for everybody out there that wants to road trip, right? So,
Watch online.
all right. Did I do a motion?
Yep.
6-0.